This is Nom Nom, home to 11 chocolate-making rascals and our little chocolate budgie. It's chocolate. Who doesn't like chocolate? People you've got to be really careful of is people that don't like chocolate. It's an escape from reality and kind of reminds you of how you thought when you're 6 years old. That's the best job a chocolate maker can do, is use all of those senses to make you feel like a kid. But it's not until you get a lot older that you start thinking, you know, where's this come from? Chocolate's got like a 400-year history. Cocoa beans were traded as currency by the Aztecs. And then it's just kind of turned into colonizing people and ripping the cocoa beans and shipping them back to Europe and making horrible expensive chocolate bars and sticking loads of sugar and fat in it. For me, what's really important is that chocolate should be pure, being really serious about where your produce comes from, how your supply chain and all that kind of stuff, and how that can be really well done. We've just come back from a whole team trip to Madagascar. We're working with a group of farmers that come together to process their own cocoa beans in the country of origin, which means it tastes different, tastes amazing, much more different. You wouldn't be able to get that flavour in Europe. And all the money is staying in the country, and it creates a whole value chain around it, which stays in the country. So here's a cocoa pod. Inside here is about 30 cocoa beans covered in a white, pulpy flesh. And that is fermented down for a couple of days, and then they'll spread it out and dry it for about a week, and then you've got cocoa beans. So these are raw, unroasted cocoa beans that have been fermented and dried, and the country of origin will process this to the next stage, which is 100% cocoa mass. So this isn't chocolate, this is cocoa mass. This is the raw ingredient of the chocolate industry. So it's not chocolate until something else is put with this. So what happens in the UK is we'll add sugar and cocoa butter, and then we'll conch and refine that for a couple of days to get finished chocolate bar. 70% of the world's cocoa is traded on terms that basically give the farmer about $2,000 a ton for these cocoa beans. By processing it to the next stage in the country of origin, that ton of cocoa beans is now worth $14,000. So what's happening is that the profits or the value created by processing in the country of origin is staying in the country rather than leaving for Europe, so that the communities there and whole countries can actually take control of their own futures and invest in their communities. So fair trade is brilliant. It's taken the industry a long way, but what I think really needs to happen now is that we actually give the power of the cocoa bean back to the country where it comes from, and they need to take ownership of it and add value in their own country.